There's something living under your flower pots right now. Something small, something gray, something that's been there for weeks, maybe months, and you've probably never given it a second thought. You lift the pot to move it, and suddenly they scatter. Dozens of tiny armored creatures scurrying in every direction, curling into perfect little spheres the moment they feel threatened. Your first instinct? Sweep them away, toss them into the yard, maybe step on a few. Stop. Before you do that, before you disturb a single one, you need to know what you're actually dealing with. Because what looks like a garden pest is one of the most fascinating, genuinely useful creatures in your entire backyard ecosystem. And getting rid of them? That could be quietly destroying your soil, your plants, and everything you've worked so hard to grow. Today you're going to see the roly-poly in a completely different light. You're going to find out where they came from, and the answer will surprise you. You'll learn what they do underground while you sleep. You'll discover why your plants actually depend on them, and you'll understand why that moment you disturb their colony under your flower pot matters far more than you think. This isn't just a bug story. This is a story about your garden's hidden economy and the tiny workers keeping it running. Here's the first thing most people don't know. The roly-poly, scientifically called Armadillidium vulgare, and also known as the pill bug, woodlouse, or armadillo bug, is not an insect. Not even close. It's a crustacean. The same family as crabs, lobsters, shrimp. Let that sink in. The creature curled up under your flower pot right now is more closely related to what you order at a seafood restaurant than to any ant, beetle, or fly in your yard. It's a land-dwelling crustacean, one of the very few that has fully adapted to life on solid ground. Scientists call this remarkable, and it genuinely is. Pill bugs carry a piece of the ancient ocean with them everywhere they go. Their gills still need moisture to function. They breathe through structures that look like tiny, modified gills tucked beneath their armor-plated bodies. That's why you find them where you do. Under pots, beneath boards, in the dark, damp corners of your porch. They're not hiding from you. They're chasing moisture the way a fish chases water. Now picture one up close. The body is segmented, 7 distinct plates of gray armor that overlap like medieval chainmail. 7 pairs of legs, 14 legs total, moving in a fluid, coordinated wave as it walks. 2 long antennae probing the air. Eyes on the sides of its head, small and dark, scanning its surroundings with surprising awareness. And when threatened, it tucks its head down, curves its back, and rolls into a perfect ball. That's not just a defense mechanism. That armor is airtight enough to protect it from most predators, and flexible enough that it can hold the position for minutes at a time. Birds know it. Spiders learn it. Even some ants give up. The life of a pill bug begins in spring, when a female carries her eggs in a small, fluid-filled pouch on her underbelly, called a marsupium. She carries between 30 and 200 eggs at once. When they hatch, the young pill bugs, called mancas, emerge looking almost identical to their parents, just smaller and with 1 fewer pair of legs. That last pair develops within the first few molts. They molt in 2 stages. The back half of the exoskeleton sheds first, then a few days later, the front half follows. During molting, pill bugs turn a faint pinkish color. If you've ever seen a pale roly-poly, that's what was happening. Not illness, not damage, just growth. A pill bug lives 1 to 3 years. In that time, it molts dozens of times, breeds multiple seasons, and processes a staggering amount of organic material. Here's where the story gets good. Every pill bug in your yard is a decomposer, a biological recycler working continuously through the night, breaking down dead leaves, rotting wood, fallen plant matter, and organic debris into smaller and smaller fragments. Those fragments become food for bacteria and fungi, which convert them into the rich, dark humus that your soil depends on. No humus, no healthy soil structure. No healthy soil structure, no deep root growth. No deep root growth, and your plants struggle, no matter how much you water or fertilize them. Pillbugs are one link in a chain that feeds everything above them. They shred material that would take months longer to break down without them. Microbes finish what pillbugs start, but they need those smaller fragments to work efficiently. It's a partnership that's been running in your garden long before you planted your first seed. There's something else. Pillbugs absorb heavy metals from the soil, copper, zinc, lead, and lock those metals inside their bodies as harmless crystallized spheres. Contaminated soil, urban gardens, areas near old buildings or roads. Pillbugs are quietly pulling toxins out of the ground in places where those metals would otherwise accumulate and damage plant roots. Researchers have studied this. Pillbugs concentrate copper in their bodies at levels that would kill most other soil organisms. They don't just tolerate it, they store it, neutralize it, and take it out of circulation. Your garden almost certainly has pillbugs processing soil that your plants need to be clean and mineral balanced. And you've probably never noticed them doing it. They also eat mold, fungal growth on decaying wood and wet mulch, the kind that spreads and can reach living plant tissue, gets consumed by pillbugs before it spreads. They're not perfect fungal controllers, but in a healthy garden with a healthy pillbug population, fungal buildup in mulch stays significantly lower. You lift a flower pot and they scatter. That moment matters. When a pillbug colony is disturbed, the first casualties are the females carrying eggs. The marsupium, that fluid pouch, is sensitive to pressure and exposure. When a female is handled roughly, dropped, or forced to roll rapidly, the eggs inside can be damaged or lost. One disrupted female can mean the loss of up to 200 future pillbugs. The young mancas, those newly hatched pillbugs still developing their final pair of legs, are far more vulnerable to drying out than adults. Expose them to open air and sunlight, and they can die within minutes. A single disturbance that scatters a colony into open ground on a warm afternoon can kill the most fragile members before they find shelter again. Repeated disturbance compounds the damage. A colony that gets disrupted every few days never stabilizes. The population shrinks. The decomposition work slows. The soil loses the consistent processing it depends on. And here's the part that connects directly to your plants. When pillbug populations drop in a garden, because of pesticides, repeated disturbance, or removal, organic matter builds up instead of breaking down. Thatch accumulates in mulch. Moisture retention in topsoil decreases. The microbial activity that depends on decomposed material feeding it drops as well. You might not notice it immediately, but over 1 or 2 seasons, your soil becomes harder, drier, and less productive. Gardeners who spray broad-spectrum pesticides around the base of plants, targeting ants or other insects, often unknowingly wipe out pillbug populations too. The result shows up in the soil months later, and the cause is rarely connected. Leave them alone. That's the short version. If you find pillbugs under a pot and they're not damaging your plants, and almost always they aren't, replace the pot and walk away. They've chosen that spot because it gives them the moisture and organic material they need. Let them work. If you're seeing pillbugs on living plant tissue, on tender seedlings or young stems close to the ground, that's worth watching. Pillbugs prefer dead and decaying material. When they move to living plants, it usually means they're short on food. That's a signal your garden lacks enough organic debris, not that the pillbugs are a pest. Add a layer of mulch, a handful of dry leaves, or some compost material near the base of your plants. They'll redirect their attention. Keep a section of your garden naturally mulched and undisturbed. A corner with leaf litter, a few pieces of bark, even a flat stone or two. This gives pillbugs stable habitat and keeps their population healthy without you having to do anything beyond leaving it alone. Avoid spraying pesticides at ground level unless you have a specific, confirmed pest problem. Broad-spectrum sprays don't distinguish between harmful and beneficial soil organisms. You'll lose both. If you're building raised beds or container gardens, mix some compost and leaf matter into the base layer before planting. Pill bugs will find it. You don't need to add them. They'll arrive on their own when conditions suit them. Water your garden consistently rather than heavily and infrequently. Pill bugs need moisture to breathe, but flooded soil drives them out and creates conditions that stress your plants. Steady, moderate moisture keeps the soil biology, including your pill bugs, balanced and active. The next time you lift a pot and see them scatter, those small, gray, ancient-looking creatures rolling into their defensive spheres, pause for a moment. You're looking at something that has existed for 300 million years. Something that crossed from the ocean to the land and figured out how to survive without going back. Something that breathes through modified gills, carries its young in a pouch, absorbs heavy metals from your soil, breaks down the dead matter that feeds your plants, and asks absolutely nothing from you in return. They don't bite, they don't sting, they don't damage healthy plants, they don't carry disease, they just work. Quietly, in the dark, under your pots and boards and piles of leaves. While you sleep, while you water, while you plant, they are processing the earth beneath your feet and making it better than they found it. The most powerful thing you can do for your garden isn't buying better fertilizer or finding a new pesticide. Sometimes it's knowing when to put the pot back down and walk away. Your garden already has help. It always has.